Jon Jones, he's taking on Thiago Santos. It's nice not to see Jon Jones' names in the headlines, right? I mean, I gotta give you credit because the media can show some backlash, and I know it's a little tough to deal with all these problems. And you and the team have done such a good job of kind of handling it with class, and it must be really really difficult when you have a lot of people and a lot of cases that you have to deal with. You had Ewell and you had Jon Jones, but it must be nice to see Jon Jones just healthy and ready to go and ready to defend his title again.
I think the credit goes to Jon. I don't know it's so much us or anything like that. I think Jon himself has matured. He's become,
Yep.
I don't want to say a better man. He's always been a good man, but I just think he's matured, and I think that's really what the best way I could put it is. I really believe Jon has matured, and the credit goes to him before it goes to any of us. Because if Jon doesn't do what Jon does, then there is no issue. But the USADA thing, I get upset about that just because I'm on this side of it, so I see the others. I see the stuff that you guys don't see, and I get so frustrated because the man really had no control over this thing. I know people don't want to hear that, and they just want to hear picograms and all this stuff. So God bless them, they can keep it. But this is something way out of his control, and because of him, other athletes in other sports are now going to be able to continue making their livelihood. People don't understand that he's changed the game. He's become the guy that because of him, now your favorite baseball player or your favorite basketball player, football player, whatever sport you follow, if this stuff is in their system, now there's thresholds involved where before it's not. And it's the same thing as the guy smoking pot, the guy that smoked marijuana. There's thresholds in every one of the commissions, and USADA has its own and WADA has its own. So these are things that the average fan doesn't understand, and they will never understand. Although the only thing they'll ever understand is Jon Jones tested positive. So you know what? You can keep that. If that's all you want, have it. Enjoy it. No problem. But to me that was the most frustrating part. But I'm like you, man. I'm really happy. But I've known Jon for a long time. He's such a good guy. So he's never purposely done anything to harm anyone unless you're in the cage with him, which that's what he gets paid to do. So yeah, makes sense.
And it's cool to see him kind of taking on the next guy in line. We don't often see that anymore. Like with the way the sport's changing, entertainment, guys want super fights. They want to call out this and that. Jon's actually fighting the next guy in line. And I think now when you look at all the divisions, it's actually quite rare to see that. And I feel because he's just achieved so much that, and he's done so much in the sport that this approach is actually very refreshing to see.
Oh, I'm with you on that. He chooses his own guys. We don't do that. That's on him. He picks and chooses who he wants to fight next, and he agrees, and he says. And when I say picks and chooses, not like he's picking the guy. They come and say, "Hey, this is the next guy up." He says, "Okay," and then he discusses it and goes with it. And he's doing him, and he's doing such a great job. And I'm so proud of him in so many different ways in terms of the way he's handled all this stuff. People don't understand the other side of it is really it's so bad, but for him to be able to come out through all of it and just say, okay, I'm going to fight this guy. Oh, you want me to fight this guy? Okay, I'll fight that guy. Oh, you want me to fight this guy? Okay, cool. I'll fight that guy. And, he made a statement in the beginning of the year, end of last year. He said, I owe it to my fans to be more active, the stuff they missed out on. It's the equivalent of saying you're a Michael Jordan fan and us waiting 3 years for him to come back, when he did come back, and him going on that run again. And I feel like he is the Michael Jordan of our sport. And, he was out for a few years, and he's coming back, and he's giving you that run that we all want to see out of our most beloved athlete. When I say beloved in the sense of being at the top of your game and being considered one of the greatest of all times, if not the greatest of all time. So in my opinion, he's the greatest of all time. I don't think there's a better athlete or fighter in MMA. So for me, I believe he's the greatest fighter of all time, and he's proving it. He's cleaned out the division now twice, and I think he's going for the third time to clean out the division. People say the only fight that he never had was Anthony Rumble, and they're right. That's the one fight he's never had, but he accepted that fight just the same. Mm-hmm. You guys don't understand. He accepted that fight just the same, and when Jon says, yes, I'm going to fight that guy, it's pretty safe to bet the house.
Do you think we're going to see the Daniel Cormier trilogy?
I don't know. The truth is, I don't know. I'm like everybody else in that mix. I think if it were to happen, it would have to happen at 205. So I know if Daniel came back down to 205, Jon has said this publicly. He said if if he comes down to 205, yes, the fight is there. You know, he won't because he's the next guy up and he's treating him like the next guy up. I just don't know if Jon will go up to heavyweight and do that. That's a decision Jon would have to make, and the truth is I don't know. I really don't know if we'll ever see that fight done because I know the question is not would he do it again. He's obviously fighting him twice already, so would he fight him a third time? Yeah, he would, but I think it's more the weight classes. Would he fight him at heavyweight? I don't know.
Do you see Jon moving up to heavyweight at some point in his career?
I think when he can't cut the way he like it's real easy for him to cut weight. He doesn't have a hard time cutting. He doesn't have a hard time getting in shape. So I think the day when that starts to come in, it would happen. He also said publicly that if he was going to go to heavyweight, it would have to be against the right opponent. And I'm with him on that because it's a new. You got to treat it as like 0-0 in a new landscape. We've seen a lot of guys go up in weight and gain strength. I believe it's the same thing for Jon. If he goes up in weight, he's going to gain strength. His training partners his whole career has been heavyweights, and he's actually done very, very well against them. So I don't necessarily think we won't see him at heavyweight, but I think if we do see him at heavyweight, I think everything would have to be right about it for him, and he would make that decision on his own. That wouldn't be a decision that's made for him.